Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Shayness, and today's Funny Sunday is actually my lazy weekend. But as you guys know, there's always stuff to do, so we're gonna do something really quick and easy that I've been meaning to do for a while. So let's jump straight into that. Alright guys, so we're under the hood today, and essentially what I'm doing is my oil change is due. It's coming up, so I'm going to check the oil catch cans and see what they've consumed in that short interval, and then I'm going to drain them. But I also want to check something out, and that's something that ADDW1 sent me before as a part of their collaboration with me, so I'll show you that. So first things first, sorry about the wind noise, but we're going to check the oil, and you'll see the reason why I'm checking it in a moment. But as you can see, the oil is actually at the level that it should be at. It's just slightly lower from the top dot, so that means that obviously there's been some oil consumption in the short period of time between the oil change intervals. So fortunately it's not a lot, it's a very negligible amount, but nonetheless this is product of turbo engines and GDI engines. So now let's check the dipsticks on the actual oil catch cans themselves. So these are a little bit harder to get to, well, especially that one, but so these are the dipsticks, and I'm going to clean it off first and then check. So this one's actually a little hard to check. The oil splash is actually quite up to the top. The rear one is the one that probably shouldn't have any splash whatsoever, because the top one is the one that's connected to the intake track. And actually, you know, I'm not even going to bother with it, because thanks to this strut bar, it's actually really hard to get to. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to remove the oil catch cans, and then we'll get to the next step. Alright guys, so we're here back in the hatch. I finally took out the oil catch cans, as you can see. Once again, forgive me for the wind noise, but so this is why I can't stress enough that you guys first buy an oil catch can. At the very least, you don't need a dual kit, but you definitely need at least a single kit. And you want to make sure that this one attaches to the PCV side. And the reason why I'm stating that is because look at all this. So I know it's hard to see. Here, let me move the camera, see if you guys can see it in sunlight, but there we go. It is a lot. Like, I'd say it's at least a third of the can full of oil residue. So clearly it's at least a third of the can full. Now this is the one by the intake side, and as you can see, it's empty. It's not catching anything, because again, the intake side does not really produce a lot of kickback the way it's routed. So I mean, it's good to have just in case. I have heard from some people that especially people that track their Velosters, that if you do like track days regularly, that you will see some sort of buildup here. But again, as you can see, I daily drive this, and while I'm not constantly doing hard pulls, I do get, you know, a little spirited every now and then, and even then, you know, nothing. The hardest pull I do, to be completely honest with you guys, is getting onto the freeway. You know, I definitely let it hit redline a few gears, or not redline, but close to it, and then I shift. But usually after that, if I'm doing spirited driving, I usually tend to keep it between 3,000 and 4,000 RPM. So as you can tell, once I definitely has some consumption going on. But to the main reason for this video, for those of you guys that might have your catch can set up in a very difficult to reach place, or whatever the case is, if you just want an easier way to be able to drain this instead of having to constantly remove it, because believe me, right now I had a little bit of a hard time, especially considering I have the strut bar. Wasn't too hard, fortunately, but again, it could be tedious if you have to do this even more often for those of you guys that do track days, because again, I've seen images of people that after they track their car after a few laps, this could be full after a few sessions, I'd say. So ADDW1 was kind enough back in the day to send me one of their oil catch can drain kits, and as you can see in the background, I have a box. Big shout out to Missy Kitty. She actually let me borrow my old oil catch can, which is actually a very popular Mishimoto one. And I'm gonna go ahead and check to see if the drain kit not only works on the ADDW1 kit, but also if it would work for you know, a more universal application like the Mishimoto can. So let's get into that. All right, so before the wind picks up again, so the kit consists of a universal long hose that you can cut to your need. As you can see, it says oil catch can vacuum hose. It comes with some specific little nozzles that you'll see in a moment what their purpose is for, and of course hose clamps to make sure that the hose clamps to the hose the way you need it to, on top of this little check valve and the nozzles themselves. So I'm actually going to use the catch can that obviously didn't consume any oil to show you this, because the other one, even though we cleaned it up, still has some oil residue. So we're going to jump straight into that, and I'll show you how to install this kit, and we're also going to see how universal we can get it to be. So let's go. All right, so first thing that you're going to need is an Allen wrench set. The one that I'm using, as you can clearly see here, is the 6th in the metric version. It does feel slightly loose, so if you do have maybe a 7, I'd say it'd probably fit a little better, or if you have obviously American sizes instead of the metric system. But we're going to remove this down here, and then we're going to get to the next step. All right, guys, so one thing is I did remove the particular nut that was in place right there to make sure that it's sealed up. So this right here is the Mishimoto oil catch can, and one thing to note is that it's actually slightly larger, so I had to use the 8mm Allen wrench to go ahead and remove this. I'm not going to remove it just for the sake of the fact that the adapters that come in the ADDW1 kit are specifically meant for the smaller thread size that is for the ADDW1 oil catch cans, obviously. So as you can see, there's that, and then there's the angled one, which we'll go over in a minute. But I still want to stress very much that this kit can work for universal cans like the Mishimoto. The only thing that you're going to have to worry about is making sure to go to your local automotive store and buy the right size threaded adapter, or you can even use these and couple it specifically with like some sort of extension that has, you know, different thread size on one end and the different thread size on the other end to fit these. But regardless, this kit would still be a great investment even on a universal can, because of the fact that it has this check valve, which we'll go over in a moment, the universal size hose, and all the necessary clamps that you would require. So literally buying this kit and then just buying the right size adapter. And the nice thing is that you could probably even buy a metal version of the adapter as opposed to plastic, or a brass version, and then coat it whatever color you'd like. Is kind of a plus. So again, this kit would be great even if you're using something like the Mishimoto catch can. So let's proceed to show you the next steps. Alright, sorry guys, today is one of the windiest days. So if you do have a dual catch can setup, you might want to use this for the rear can. In this case, we'll just pretend you have a single catch can setup. So I'm going to use this for the front. We're going to go ahead and tighten it there. You might want to put some particular sealant just to make sure that it doesn't leak through the threads. But essentially all I'm doing is I'm hand tightening it all the way till it gets in there. Then the next step is we're going to cut the piece of hose to the length that we need it to, and then I'm going to show you what that's going to look like right now. So as you may or may not be able to see, I've inserted my hose like so, and last but not least, I'm just going to insert one end of this particular check valve into this slot, and then we're going to clamp it down and show you what it's going to look like. And actually, before I get into that, and forgive me once again for the wind noise, but so this is a check valve. This is kind of a really cool thing if you don't know what it is. So as you can see right now, it's actually in a closed position. And then what you do is you basically twist this little handle right here, and when you do that, it goes open. So as you can see, you're going straight through. So let me see if I could close it. Oh, there you go. So forgive me for the kids in the background. Closed. And fully open. So essentially what this does is that once you put this on the other end of that hose, we'll have it sealed up so it'll consume as much oil as possible, and obviously it won't leak down the hose. And then when you're ready to drain it, you basically twist the check valve, let it all leak out into your collectible, and then that way you can go recycle it at your local auto parts store. Alright guys, so I haven't fully sealed it up quite yet, but as you can see, the catch can is mounted and installed, and then here is the check valve. Again, because of this particular positioning, you may obviously want to only use this kit if you're mounting the catch can lower, or if you're mounting it and using it for the rear catch can, as this front one is generally easy to reach, to remove. But I just wanted to show you guys essentially once the catch can's on there what it's going to look like and the whole functionality. Hey guys, and that's it. That's a wrap. Forgive me for not being able to show you more video. It's just really hard me recording by myself. Today, as you can tell, I didn't have help from the boys, and it's getting so windy that it's really hard to record. But you got the gist of basically what the oil catch can drain kit is meant to do and how it could work to your advantage. To be completely frank with you, in my situation, it's not extremely as helpful, only in the rear catch can. But as you can see, the rear catch can doesn't really collect much oil. So as far as having it in the front, because of the way it's located, it's not a huge benefit. However, if I would have had that kit when I was originally using the Mishimoto in my personal makeshift oil catch can bracket, this kit would have worked wonders for me, and I wish I would have had it sooner. But that's it, guys. Before the wind picks up, which it's picking up really fast again, thank you again for all the love and support, and I'll see you guys in the next video with some brand new oil in the engine. Bye. I like to live my life dangerously. Oh my goodness.